quantity, I torture myself more in quality and quantity when I live in anxiety, when the mind is leading me.
Yeah.
Then I am interested in one thing or the other outside. I don't look inside me.
Do you think people, and even myself at times, do that because they're want to look inside?
To see myself inside, and when I don't see myself inside, whether you are interested in one thing in the world outside or you are not at all interested in something else outside, it hardly makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because I continue to live into that anxiety and the stress and the duality and the conflict. So the entire journey, as you said, of evolution is one comes to one thing. I am not at all influenced, dictated, governed by the outer influences. What is that? Make it very simple. Make it very, very simple. I wake up in the morning. We call our life. Now, the moment I wake up, the experiences begins. Where the experiences takes place, it is all taking place in the mind.
Mm.
What are those experiences? All experiences are about events, objects, people, relationship, guided by the likes and dislikes, pain and the pleasure, reaction and the repentance and the duality and a conflict. This must go. My mind is leading me. I'm not leading the mind. Mind is living the life. I'm not living my life.
Mm.
This is much more important in quantity and quality than anything else. If the mind is ruling my life, problem is that the mind is ruling my life and I'm saying that I'm living my life. I claim that I'm living my life. Then why you have a stress? Why you have anxiety? Why you have reaction? And you also pointed out very wonderful thing. I always like to do what is right things to do. So I don't do what is right for me. I
Yeah.
like to do what is right for others. Let me help. I have lot of money. So let me help others. You are still committing a sin because your selfish ego is giving the charity. And that selfish ego and that I-ness is the mind who is leading you. It will not benefit you at all. Even if you give charity in millions of dollars, it is not going to help you because that mind is nothing but the false I which is leading my life is giving the money out of charity. Yes, you will have a great recognition in the material world. Oh, you're giving the charity to this? Yes, it will help you. So I don't change. Charity means that my attitude changes. Charity means that I instill the calmness in my mind. Charity means that now I am more aware and alert. Charity means that I have a sound sleep. When I wake up in the morning, there is a sense of the calmness pervading in my life. It is not a charity. That is what we talk about, the physical charity, we talk about the emotional and the mental charity. So I give because of my selfishness, I give because of my ego, I give because of my impure mind, with a hope that it will bring calmness to me. It is not going to bring calmness. Whether you
But what if you give because you want to give? I mean, there's got to
find out why I give before I give. Because you know why you are going to the restroom, why you are eating the food, because you are hungry. You know clearly.
Can I tell you why I give?
Yes.
Because you and I have talked about whatever you want to call it.
You are right. I'm not blessed to give so much money to the charity. It means I have to live my life of stress. I never think about it. I say that I'm blessed to have a lot of money, and that money has a tag of I-ness. And with that I-ness tag, if I give to you, it will carry on. My mind is leading me. But if I give the charity with an inner mental attitude, it has come from the existence and it is going to the existence. I actively participate. This is going to purify my mind. But if I think, oh, I have a lot of money, oh, $1 billion, oh, are you suffering? Okay, let me give you $100,000. So as if I am playing a role of that God, which the God should have played its role.
Yeah, I understand.
And there are many events. I don't want to go into that, but one day I will go. There were many events in the lives of Jesus who found a man blind, and Jesus gave him the eyes. And that guy started looking every girl with a lot of sensuality. And he went into depression, returned back to the Jesus, that why you gave me the eyes. Not one story. There are about 100 stories in the lives of the Jesus. And there were very interesting stories which helps us to understand how this evolution works. So I have to be very clear. What is very clear? I am leading. Mind is leading me, or I am leading the mind. If the mind is leading me, that sense of impurity, anxiety, reaction is there. Yes, intellectually I think rightly that the God blessed me with a lot of money, hence I should spare with some cause. Basically it's a social motivation as others are also doing it. But when it comes to a spiritual evolution, we have to go with the cause and effect. And that cause should go into my mind that giving any kind of charity must calm down my mind. Any kind of charity, emotional, mental, physical, should lead my life to a rise in awareness.
Yeah.
In Eastern wisdom, we say the knowledge is considered highest form of the charity. The knowledge helps you to rise in awareness, to live into the state of the calmness, and makes you aware what needs to be done, what is right to be done, that the money and the bread cannot do.
Yeah.
The next time, the half of the money that you are giving into the charity should come to me because I'm offering you the knowledge. You see that?
I think a lot of people.
Our goal of charity is to dissolve that ego, or simple meaning of ego. Mind is leading me, mind is dictating me. So to dissolve that ego, I have to lead my mind. So what the mind says, yes, I have it, I possess it. Well, how come I possess it? It has come from the existence. Lot of people do lot of hard work and even then they don't have it. So first I should move with the humility. Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God. So now with that humility, my mind says that it has come from the existence which I have yet to know, and it is going to the existence of the name and the form. Maybe the children. When I have that attitude, you have that attitude every day, every moment, you will see your mind purifies.
Yeah. I agree.
I always see that my master, in spite of lot of challenges, he continued guiding me in the mode of total unselfishness. How can I forget him? But when I don't forget, I also feel a sense of giving. But remember, then we will come to the main topic. But remember, with that attitude, when I was hardly a few days, I think, 30 or 34, 35, so I also had a ghost of giving charity to the people. I didn't have a lot of money. So I went into the slum and I said, okay, from today I'm going to teach every day. I will make you educated. So everyone was happy. After my working hours in the federal government, from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m., I used to teach about maybe 50 or 60 kids who cannot afford education. At 12, I used to reach my house full of stress, tiredness, and fatigue. After 6 months, I developed a lot of infection in my lungs. But my mind, with a big ego, sad that I'm doing such a good, noble work, but why, what the heck I'm suffering? And then I explained each and everything to my master, and he laughed and he said, "Stop this nonsense. Your ego is doing this kind of a charity. First, crush your ego. First, purify your mind. Understand what you are capable of. See that any form of the charity should help you rise in awareness." Then he gave me such a beautiful advice. You see that you are doing something for the other. Your mind will never ever forget the motivation that you are offering something to the others, and the mind always thinks something in return. I said, yes. So if that motivation of getting in return is guided by the selfishness, which is your primary motive, then you are not offering anything in charity.
Mm-hmm.
What is your motivation? I asked the master. You never ask anything from me. And he had a big laugh. I said, that is why I'm a monk and you are a householder. That is, so the monk goal is to offer the knowledge in spite of anything and everything. They are not influenced by the outer situation. Can I also live into that state? Yes, you can live into that state. So keep your primary motivation to offer the knowledge. Try to express that knowledge personalized to each and every person you are talking to. But you have to remain a professional. You are not going to be a monk. So that is your secondary motive to charge. You have to do it. You cannot live without it. But if you live without it, it will cause harm to you.
Yeah, I understand that.
So, but then some people start negotiating. For some people I agree, for other people I refuse. I said, I'm not interested. I'm not giving you anything. I don't have any knowledge. Very clear. Very clear. Not interested. Why? Because I see them in their head that they don't have an intention to become a seeker. Even intellectually, they do not understand. So I said, okay, I'm done with you. I'm not interested.
There's some people you won't work with.
No, I simply refuse it.
But isn't it your? It's not your. It's not your responsibility to teach the wisdom. So
is it coming from the ego? No, I asked them. I asked them specific questions, and based on then I do this assessment, and I reveal that assessment to that person, and saying that assessment, and I say, am I right? They say, yes, you are right. That is why I have approached you, and that is why I'm not going to coach you. One guy who was an IT expert in New York, and then he changed his profession. He became a nurse, and he had a lot of stress. He realized changing the profession cannot make him free from the stress.
Yeah.
So he was a brother of my student who was his sister, and she loved me. She said, no, you have to give guidance to him, and you can charge the money. So for 6 months, and he was paying me, and I was doing it. One day I said, what you are drinking? Oh, you didn't know that? I've been doing it in all your sessions. I said, what exactly it is? So it is rum, so that I can manage my stress. I folded my hand. I said, please don't pay me. You have 5 sessions left. Please don't pay me. And you live your life with the rum. And whatever the practices I have done, take those rum and then do the practice. No, but why? I'm paying you. I said, it doesn't make any difference to me. I don't want to destroy that knowledge of the Eastern wisdom. At least you will go and speak to thousands of the people that while drinking I was learning. But still,
I understand that because I understand that very well, because it's not always about money. Because I'll be like, there's some people that will want to come by my houses from my brother and I, but their energy they're crazy.
are very good in that profession, because if the mind dictates my life, my life, it's a personal life, and if other mind is also dictating and influencing me, and which gives me an experience of the anxiety and the reaction and the ignorance, it is better to keep a distance with those people.
Yeah.
I don't have any enmity. I don't have any reaction to them, but I said I'm very happy to keep a distance with you, but I will definitely invite you whenever I have some event in my life. But as far as the transmission of the knowledge is concerned, not at all.
Yeah.
Now see, that is where I want to come. You wake up in the morning, we wake up in the morning. Simple. I'm awake. Means what? Mind is awake. Mind is awake means what? Look at the way our masters have passed on this wisdom step by step. In deep sleep, the mind is not awake. In a waking state simply means I'm awake, means the mind is now awake.
Okay.
Then the mind, because of the past impressions, impurities, it has 3 options, which goes mechanically, habitually, animally. What is the first option? First option, that the mind goes through these 5 sense organs, picks up the objects, events, relations, and then it take it input inside, and mind processes that information based on the impurities of the mind. That is why when I see a beautiful girl, eyes do not have the sensuality. It is the mind, because of the past impression and have a desire, I see that girl or opposite sex with a matter of sensuality, with a sense of craving. Sensuality simply means I want to possess, I want to enjoy, I'm seeking a pleasure. Whether it's in food, or in opposite sex, or in possessions. That is the first level of perception. Every day comes to the mind consciously, mechanically. Why it comes mechanically? Because mind is leading me. Simple. I'm not mind. I'm led by the mind. I'm not leading the mind. I don't become aware. Second option, the internal thought, feeling, and emotion when I wake up. Mind is awake. So those internal thought, feeling, and emotions are also guided by the past impressions, my emotions, my ego, my selfishness, my reaction. I have not implanted any thought of the Eastern wisdom, of the peace that hides within me. So that is the second, when I'm awake, that is the second way the mind is leading me. And the third way of mind is the mind is just remains neutral. You wake up in the morning, you look at the bed, or you look at the wall, so you have a neutral perception. Yeah, this is matter, is not going to do anything. You'll have a different perception. Your mind runs to your pet. What happened to the pet? Let me see. But to the wall, it does not make any difference. So this mind, which continues to have a three level of perception, and then this mind lives the entire day, personal, professional, and social life, that results into lot of likes and dislikes, pain and the pleasure, strong attachment, a kind of delusion lives, because I have not implanted any thought, any knowledge that I am the real self every day in the morning. So at the intellectual level, I know I am the real self, I am the pure consciousness. No, but still it is in the intellect. Yes, it is in the intellect. Then why I'm not changing? Because the mind has already paralyzed the intellect. What is the meaning of paralysis of the intellect? The mind does not allow, in presence of the craziness, impurities, does not allow the knowledge to be applied in my daily life. And when you are not applying that knowledge into the daily life, what happens? You may not say that you don't have an attachment, but that mind works. The mind that leads your life is working with an intense attachment. It works with a very strong power of delusion. And when it is working with a deep attachment and the delusion that manifests into anxiety, reaction, duality, conflict, fear, failure, frustration. And that is how I live my life every day. When I return home after the work, my intellect is active. Mind says, okay, make your intellect active. So intellect is asking the question, why I am not changing? That statement is also coming from the dictate of the mind. Then what happens? Your intellect says, oh, I am not changing, I have a lot of anxiety and reaction, but at least I'm okay today. And then you sleep and the next day starts the same thing, and you always think, you always repent, but you don't change. Yeah. I gave you the story, the mind. When I'm awake, that how this mind leads my life every day. mind paralyzes the intellect because I'm not inculcating any self-discipline in my life. So what is happening? The mind says, oh, you are not doing anything, so I will paralyze your intellect. So when the intellectual paralysis is there, the mind says, oh, you are in anxiety, do this. You increase your anxiety. You are reacting to something, you react more. You have a fear of death with anything and any damn thing that you explain to me. I knew your state of mind when you explained to me. I did not talk about it. You said, what you told me about gangster.
Oh, yeah.
I said, what happened to this guy? My mind. I said, no, let me remain calm. Let me cool him down. I will talk at another session. Gangster living. Anything can happen at any time. This ceiling can fall here. I'm gone.
Yeah.
I'm driving. I meet with an accident. Anything can happen anytime.
Yeah.
So what is the delusion? I imagine the gangster will attack me. So it is better to remain confined in the house. So the master gave you there is a model. You see the models of coaching. You have a models of a house. I have a models of coaching. The different models of your house. So one model is aware. A-W-A-R-E. A-W-A-R-E. Acronym. First A means that I ask my mind to acknowledge that I am the real self. At least I should remember every day in the morning. During the day, I don't remember it. Second, the W means that what I have to do? What I made it I withdraw from the false identity. A-W. Withdraw. When I withdraw from the false identity, I dissolve the attachment. A-W-A. I abolish the misconception which is created by the mind, which is leading me, because if I don't break these misconceptions and the delusion, it is not going to help me. So A-W-A, abolish misconception. R means that I respond in calmness. So when I respond in calmness, intellectual paralysis is gone, and I have a sense of steadiness in the mind. And the last E, now the E. So then only I can embody my true nature. So this is, in Upanishad, is known as satsang. So I say just follow aware, because Americans don't remember, even if they remember satsang, but they do not understand clearly. So what now see that satsang means that continued listening and learning with an apt attention. Continued listening and learning, what it means? It simply means that I have this knowledge in my mind. Like the buffaloes and bison, or these, that group of animals. Have you seen the cows and the bison? And what they do, they just graze the grass rapidly. And then they sit down. They vomit out in their mouth only what they have eaten. And then they digest. They chew it more and more to digest and assimilate. The same thing. First step is just listening and learning. First step is listening and learning. But listening and learning means that I am keeping these principles in my mind. When I start contemplation and reflection, I remember. Not only that, when I am driven by anxiety and reaction, I should recall these principles and let me contemplate and reflect. Tell my mind, I will take care of you, anxiety, later. Let me contemplate. So when you contemplate, reflect, it means you are assimilating that knowledge. And then what happens? Now your intellectual paralysis is gone. And when it is gone, then what happens? The intellect inspires you now do the practice. Everything is happening inside. That is the principle of awareness. Another way to say it, then what happens behind? So what happens behind? I told you that it is simply known as the satsang. So when the moment you are listening and learning, 25% of your attachment, your anxiety calms down. When you assimilate and reflect and digest it, you could see that you are attached and you should not be attached. So there comes a sense of freedom. Emotional dependence to the emotional freedom comes even just by contemplation and reflection. And when you continue the journey, that delusion dissolves. You have a freedom. You will see the mind is totally free from the delusion. How much money the neighbor has? Oh, he has $2 billion. And then you have a smile on the face because that dollar does not bring peace and happiness. So you have a freedom from delusion. I will appreciate that you have worked hard, my neighbor, and you have so much of money. I appreciate your hard work. You see the attitude? Yeah. That attitude comes to the mind. Then this mind is not leading you. It is the intellect and the wisdom is leading you. So when you have a freedom of delusion, then what happens? This mind is not going anywhere. You wake up in the morning, you are fully awake. For the last 45 years, every day the moment I wake up, I remember my master. Then I remember, the happiness is my essential nature. Peace is my essential nature. Sense of completeness comes from within. And you enter into the state of the auspiciousness. Your day starts by taking over the mind. Not the mind takes over you. Yeah. Can it happen in a day? No. It will happen only when we do it regularly. We have to follow a self-discipline. Then before going to sleep, I said, did I have any moment of slight anxiety, reaction, and duality? Oh, no. Did I have any thought? No. Did I have any emotion against or in favor of one? In favor of one is attachment, against is detachment. No. Can you imagine the state of the calmness since you wake up in the morning until you retire to the bed? So now you are going to sleep. So these impressions of the calmness will help you settle into the peace, will inspire you to wake up again in the same state of calmness. Yeah. But if I'm frustrated, I fear, let me take 2 peg of vodka, sleep down, but my impressions are not clear. Yeah. So I sleep with those impressions. When I wake up, I will have the same attitude.
Yeah.
So I will continue to live in the delusion. So that is what the master says, the first thing, that I have to hammer this delusion. So in a single phrase, the entire aware model says hammer the delusion. But at the same time, it points out that I have to acknowledge my real nature, which is of the nature of abundance of love. So we work on both the areas. Once I calm down the mind, once I'm leading the mind, once the delusion is not there, once that sense of false identities are absent, I can experience that love is blossoming in me. So the master says, hammer the delusion and find and discover the unconditional love in your life. What is that unconditional love? It comes from deeper within. Any love that comes from outside is conditional. What is conditional? It is dependent on the person, on the event, on the relations. And what is dependent, it becomes a conditional love. I depend on, say, for example, on my honey. That I love you, honey, so much. Problem is that I love the honey for the sake of myself. I don't love the honey for the sake of herself.
Yeah.
How do you say that? Whereas if the honey hates me and dislikes me, then I don't love the honey. That unconditional love. I love myself unconditionally. Because, honey, you have started hating me. Now the time has come. Enough is enough. I will take divorce. But I cannot divorce myself. I cannot divorce myself. That myself is the real nature. That myself is the real nature. So we have a two-pronged approach. That is why every master starts with what they say. They give a very gloomy, frustrated picture of the world. Buddha says the world is suffering. And then he proves the why it is suffering. He gives the cause. The second noble truth is that there is a cause of this suffering. What is the cause of this suffering? You have, out of the world as it is, you have created your own world out of attachment, out of anxiety, fear, and the delusion. So it is the self-created world that is the cause, that is the delusion. Buddha is not saying that this world is suffering. How can this world be suffering? We have beautiful plants and plant kingdom. We have variety of animals. We have such a good infrastructure in United States. Yeah, the road. We have a sense of freedom and democracy. How can you say this world is suffering? This world I have imagined, I have created another world inside this world. How I have created? You don't love me. You don't love me. I love you so much. I gave you 200%. Even if you can give me 5%, I will be happy. So I'm crazy. I have created a world of my own. I have $1 million, so I'm happy. I have only $1,000, so I'm unhappy. So the being rich and the poor are labels. Even those two individuals, they still eat through their mouth. They still sleep every day. There is hardly any difference. So I create a world of my own. What is another world that I create? Now I am 66, I'm aging, and then the mind says, now the more you are old, you'll be suffering. You don't will your organs, your eyes, and all these motor organs and the sense organs will have less power to enjoy the pleasure. But I don't think pleasure is pleasure causes the pain. That what I have experienced throughout my life. I have to drive myself to the happiness. I don't think in that way. I've created my own world of old age. I've created my world of being rich or poor. I've created my world that I am single and married. So that is why I should have a pet. What the heck, I should have a pet. So that I can love the pet. Obviously, you can love the pet because the pet is going to listen to you. When you marry a human being, you cannot have that sense of control and the freedom. So you love, that love contains the control. Very good. So that is the conditional love. So that is how I take myself into that state of false delusion, false hope. At least you should have 100 pets. You have lot of money to take care. Buy 1 acre of land and there you should have 100 pets. I will spend 5 or 6 hours with those pets. I will take care of them. You will be doing a good work of charity. Why you have only one pet? That is craziness. So I have created my world of my own. I don't think about it. Yeah. I don't contemplate and reflect. So this text we are going to start from the next week. The first is the hammer the delusion. I have to hammer the delusion. So how? By thought, by feeling and emotion, I have to recognize, and then I have to see I'm not driven. I'm not running after the pleasure or the pain. I'm not running after for example, in your case, I'm not running after the pet because I take care of the pet. Why? Because I love the pet. We have 8 billion people, so better to start loving the human being. It doesn't mean that you don't keep it. Yeah, keep it. But I should have a sense of detachment. My mind should not drive me to delusion. Yeah. In a group session, I saw many group sessions. I have 5 or 6 group sessions. In one group session, I didn't say anything. I saw the cats is moving around and jumping on the head, and you are meditating? What the hell you are talking to me? You are not even aware of what you are doing. And then you share your experience. My cat was very happy with me because I was doing meditation. I didn't say anything. After 6 months, I was too tough on them, but in a different way. And then they stopped bringing the cats in the session. I said, you can't keep even 1 hour of your life to learn the Eastern wisdom. What you can do in your life. You're still dependent. So the second part is that Bhaj Govindam. It is known as the Bhaj Govindam. Bhaj has many meanings. So when you study the American translated text, they say that you should be devoted to Govinda. Govinda means Govinda. Govinda is another name of the Krishna. Krishna, who is the master teacher who wrote Gita. And that is why we are fooled. And then my mind says, no, why should I be devoted to the Krishna? I'm already devoted to the Jesus. So what is the meaning of the Bhaj Govindam? That is why we need a teacher to understand Bhaj. And the Bhaj, one meaning is devotion. Another meaning is that my mind is pure. In that purity of the mind, I recognize that there is an entity in me. There is an essence in me which is of the nature of the love. And that love is Govinda. So Jesus said that love is God. Is he also a manifestation of the love? Yes. Is Krishna is also the manifestation of love? Yes. Is the Moses also is the manifestation of the love? Yes. What is manifested is created. What is created will die. The body of the Jesus, or the Krishna, or the Moses have taken birth at one time and they have left. What is behind that? What is that essence? Is the unconditional love. So I have to recognize, I have to realize again and again. But now if I don't have this knowledge, that can I recognize that unconditional love in me? Then what people will do? I'm taunting you. So what? Then I will love my pet, my dog. Then dog is sick, then I will become sick. What kind of a love that I have? Can you tell me what I think? So Bhaj Govindam, 2 words. The beauty of this text is that it has 2 titles, not subtitles. 2 titles. One title is Bhaj Govindam, means I recognize, I realize that unconditional love in me. Can I recognize here and now? Check. Your mind is not conditioned. Your mind is not leading your life. Mind is your faithful servant. You can recognize that love here and now. You'll have no suffering at all from today. So the second title is Hammer the Delusion. I have to hammer the delusion. Where the delusion lives. Delusion lives in the mind. What it does, it brings an emotional dependence. It has false identities. It has an imagined pleasure and pain outside. So if I don't dissolve that delusion in myself and I'm seeking the unconditional love, not possible. No, why it is not possible? Because in delusion, I will continue to seek the pleasure and the conditional love from outside. As long as I'm seeking the conditional love outside, how can I find the unconditional love inside me? Yeah. It's a rainy season and I want to enjoy the rain outside my house without getting wet. Not possible. That is the delusion. That wetting, enjoy the rain, the drops of the water is pleasure, and getting wet is the pain. So any conditional love, peace, happiness that comes from outside hides the pain inside. You like pasta, you have gone to a restaurant, you enjoyed, you have lot of money, you gave the tip also, and full of the pleasure. First thing first. How many minutes you were eating pasta? 15 minutes. So that 15 minutes, taste buds in your tongue gave you the pleasure. But you wanted to extend that pleasure. How? You gave a good tip to the waiter. Then how you wanted to extend that pleasure, your mind keep on thinking. You are not eating pasta, but your mind thinking, oh, pasta is so good. The salt was proper. And what else you add in pasta? The cheese was good. They have cooked it well. There is no pleasure. Taste bud is craving for it, and but I keep on giving an imagined pleasure until I reach my home. Because why? I'm avoiding the pain, the absence of the pleasure. The pasta with my taste. But this is what the delusion is.
Yeah.
And then I lie down on the bed. Oh, what a food that I have. Oh, when you have eaten the pasta 3 hours ago, my mind is not allowing me to sleep because I want to enjoy that pasta.
Yeah.
After 4 hours, you're lying down on the bed. 4 hours before you were in the restaurant? No, because my mind is imagining that. It is projecting. When you wake up in the morning with hangovers because you didn't sleep too well, because of that imagined pleasure, which is a delusion. So the pain hides behind the pleasure. Anything that is conditional, all the sense organ definitely gives us a pleasure with their respective objects, but it is conditional. And that conditional nature is taken over by the mind because my mind is leading me. So I have those thoughts and feelings and emotions. This is the journey of the delusion. If I don't hammer the delusion, it acts like a curtain, a veil. I cannot find that unconditional love. So the two titles, we are going to study how this delusion takes place in our daily life, at every moment in our life, I can bet you. So the delusion is there. I cannot find the unconditional love at all. So I get frustrated, I react, I'm into anxiety, then I forget it, I engage myself in the pleasure outside, and days after days, weeks after weeks, months after months, and years after years, I'm not able to realize my real nature. I'm not able to recognize and realize that real nature of unconditional love because I'm living in delusion. I don't have a time to hammer the delusion.